Yeah, I got money on my phone and money on me. I got all these hoes, but still lonely. They been blowing on that strong, but still so weak. I've been hiding a drone, but still low-key. We been sitting on the floor, they in the nosebleeds. Lately I've been in control, they can't control me. Yeah, they about to get exposed for being so cheap. I've been sticking to the code and I ain't gon' cheat. Yo, grew my hair and took the grill out. Think it's time to put it back in. Trying to get into that big house, turn the crib into the mansion. Needed something with that big bounce. You know I had to hit Jackson. Aaron Rodgers with the quick routes. I'm with the gang, we packing. We on the field at Lambo. Might peel in a Lambo. Running drills in my camo. They know what the M stand for. Still got fam in Hawaii, yeah. Couple fans in the lobby, yeah. Couple grand in my pocket, yeah. Couple grams of wasabi, yeah. Eye it up, no glasses. Light it up, no matches. Wife it up, no ratchets. Might turn my wife to an actress. And we gon' make a movie, no Kim K. Give a fuck about what your friends say. I got money on my phone and money on me. I got all these hoes, but still lonely. They been blowing on that strong, but still so weak. I've been hiding a drone, but still low-key. We been sitting on the floor, they in the nosebleeds. Lately I've been in control, they can't control me. Yeah, they about to get exposed for being so cheap. I've been sticking to the code and I ain't gon' cheat.
I'm just sticking to the code, I keep it so G. She asked me what I smoke, I'm smoking OG. I don't fool with too many, only catch me 4 deep. Gotta stay away from snakes, swear these people so creep. I've been grinding for a minute, many labels so sleep. These rappers drop a song, be hot for about a week. I put Gucci on my toes, I keep some cold feet. I ain't paying for no home, you niggas know me. I'm about to body the beat. I keep me a hottie with me. She wanna for a fee. Give me that for free. Keep me some money on me. Smoking the gas key. You with me, sheesh. But need no cheap keep.
I got money on my phone and money on me. I got all these hoes, but still lonely. They been blowing on that strong, but still so weak. I've been hiding a drone, but still low-key. We been sitting on the floor, they in the nosebleeds. Lately I've been in control, they can't control me. Yeah, they about to get exposed for being so cheap. I've been sticking to the code and I ain't gon' cheat.
Yeah, head up in the clouds, dog, they saying I look stressed. I've been feeling down, pray to God that I'm up next. Remember when she blew me off, that's why I can't text. Now she call me petty, but I swear I can't forget. This ain't a test, now they saying that I ball like Jerry West. Coming back for what is mine, can't take no less. I said go and take a shot, so I need your best. And stop the threats, so nobody's into me. I don't got time, I'm not giving the energy. Too many people around me, I'm finicky. I do not mess with you, dog, you're not kidding me. You don't got way too close. I been up at the top now, so they all wait for the landslide. I seen too many people that switched up, whose man's high. Through it all, I stay the same, I swear to God, I can't lie. Been down so damn low that I came up for my life. They talk way too much on the internet, it's not real life. I swear my fam waiting, I can't lose and I'm still right. Still right, I swear that I'm working them up till like midnight. It's real life, I got a time and I'm coming to get mine. In time, I cannot lose and I'm coming right inside. I'm in mine, yeah.
Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Ayy, on the road, here we go. Yeah, we winning by a landslide. Never see me coming on my landmine. Yeah, I ain't taking orders in command like. Yeah, you about to see me on demand like. You know on demand. If you ain't know, you about to understand. Yeah, I got the team by my side, right hand. Yeah, take it to a string, you ain't seen it like that. Yeah, and it's the dream, and we coming for the bag. Yeah, and we ain't never going back now. Future expedited, now we on the fast track now. They won't lend a hand, now they see us on the map now. It's time to act out. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Hey, on the roll, here we go, yeah. At the top of the class on a roll. Hey, and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Yeah, maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Yeah, on the roll, here we go, here we go. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Hey, on the roll, here we go, yeah. At the top of the class on a roll. Hey, and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Yeah, maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Yeah, on the roll, here we go, here we go. Here we go. On a roll, here we go, here we go.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Frankie Candles live stream every single weekday right here at 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And Mafia, oh baby, Bitcoin is ripping on that tariff news. Oh, man, is the bottom in, guys? We got a lot to talk about on today's live stream as we have gotten a pretty significant bounce to the upside. And as you guys know, last night on the live stream, we were looking at a very key level that we are approaching very, very quickly right now, sitting around $84,000. I believe we wicked up to about $83,500. Are we going to be able to break into this upper volume profile and get this continuation to the upside, guys? Now, as you know, we were looking at that two-day bull dip, which is, I don't believe it is printing just yet. And we'll take a look at it. Yeah, it's not printing just yet. But we had that two-day bull dip. Is this the bottom, or are we going to come back down? We're going to cover that in tonight's live stream. Obviously, we have that news to help us on this move up. But I want to talk about kind of what we're expecting next here. Where are those next local targets to the upside? If you saw the market update earlier, you will know kind of some of those targets that we're looking at. But yeah, I want to break it down with you guys. Pretty crazy here. And shout out to Gordon, 5Xing his account. Let's go. Shout out to Gordon. Congratulations to you, man. We're going to start off the stream here with a little bit of I don't know, a rainstorm. Let's go. Shout out to Gordon. Bing bong. Let's get it. Shout out to you, bro. Congratulations on your win. Anyway, shout out to Gordon, guys. But thank you for tuning in. I appreciate every single one of you guys for being here and hanging out with your boy Frankie Candles and the Candle Mafia. Smash that like button if you have not already. If we get 1,000 likes on tonight's live stream, we'll give away some Frankie Candles hats, maybe. Maybe we'll do that. Maybe we'll do some crypto. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But we're going to give away some good stuff. So smash that like button if you have not already. But let's see. We got Jesse in the chat, our like police. Respect him if he asks you to touch that like button with your finger, your butt. We don't judge you. Just smash that like button. And if you do it, make sure you do it an odd amount of times. Let's see. We got the Biomex in the chat. Welcome in, bro. Good to see you. Shout out to Gordon in the chat. We just mentioned him. Let's see. We got World in the chat. Welcome in. Let's see. We God candle to new all-time highs. I told you last night. Shout out to I'll call you World. Shout out to you, bro. Are we about to God candle to 200K, guys? Maybe we'll take a look at some higher targets in case the bottom's in. But again, I'm going to show you the bullish case here. We'll show you some of the time frames that are looking like we could continue up. But as you guys know, until that high time frame money flow starts coming back into the green, which hopefully we could start to see here, we do have to be somewhat cautious, and I'll talk about exactly what I'm looking at in that aspect or from that perspective. Shout out to Goldavelli. We got Pennywise in the chat as well. Everybody's favorite clown. Welcome in. Let's see. Shout out to Night Ghost. Says, Frankie Candles, we should go down in the Asian markets due to tariffs. Shout out to Night Ghost, and I'm going to talk about the key levels because we are coming up to resistance here. Shout out to Eugene Sky. Said 200K LFG. Let's go, baby. Let's go. Let's see. Fibonacci, shout out to Izzy, says, Fibonacci, Frank, what's up, bro? Hit us with that sauce. We got a ton of sauce for tonight's live stream, guys, so stick around and make sure you watch to the end because maybe we'll reveal some higher targets for Bitcoin Let's see. We got Crimson in the chat. Welcome in, Crimson. Good to see you in here. We got John B. said the move has just begun. I hope so, bro. I hope so. And there are those high time frame divs. So yeah, I'm gonna take a look at the higher time frames with you guys because obviously, we have been looking at that $75,000 weekly naked point of control as a key level of support. So we're gonna break everything down for you, so you're not gonna miss the next move on Bitcoin. And also, I do just want to say, I was watching Trump speak, and I was on like Fox or something. I saw the chat going, and like there were people in there pissed off that they were missing the moves on the stock market and Bitcoin. Pretty crazy. But if you're out there feeling FOMO, guys, just understand you're not going to catch every single move on the charts, right? There's always infinite possibilities. So if you're feeling that emotion, you're feeling that FOMO, just understand there's going to be another opportunity. Even if we ripped up to 89K or, even if we ripped up to 100K right now, there's going to be a million other opportunities for the trades. So just keep that in mind. And then the longer term aspect of things is, you have time to react on that stuff, right? So don't feel that FOMO. Remember, the only thing I said this on the live on the market update earlier, if you want to know discipline, it is watching price move in the direction you thought and not doing a single thing about it until you have more confirmation, right? And that is what's going to make you money over time in trading, not FOMOing into moves. Could you make some money? Sure. But just understand it's not a long-term play. So with all that being said, guys, let's see. Shout out to CJ, said, I never catch any moves somehow and end up scalping garbage. Shout out to CJ. And that is what a lot of people do, right? Like they feel that, oh my God, I missed this move. And, the worst thing that can happen is you FOMO into a move and then you make money. This is the worst thing that could possibly happen to you because all you're doing is building bad habits. Excuse me. And if you do start building those bad habits, right, this is going to lose you so much money over time. Getting lucky on FOMOing into one move is not worth building bad habits or adding to those bad habits because they take a really, really long time to unlearn. That's why I press on that so much, right? Everyone wants to know the secret to trading. And to be honest, right, there's so many profitable strategies. There's so many good indicators. There's so many good ways to read price action. But really the secret to trading is your discipline and your emotional control. But without further ado, guys, let's go ahead and jump on into the shout out to FedBomb said, buy the pump. Let's see. Sitting on your hands is hard. Shout out to Mr. Market, 100%. And I'm very open about this, right? I've talked about some missed moves that I had. I am not long in this position right now, and I'll explain to you guys exactly why. I'm not tripping at all. I actually explained it in the market update. But yeah, it is extremely difficult, right? Most traders, they don't need a new strategy. They don't need more capital. They don't need better setups. What they need is patience, right? They need to sit on their hands and wait for those confirmations. And sometimes, shout out to Yip. You can tell Bitcoin's pumping when people are starting to say that. But anyway, and I'll explain about why I did not take this position down here and why I'm not tripping, right? But yeah, let's see. What's going on, Spaceland? Welcome in. Shout out to Izzy, said, dang, Frankie, that is exactly what I did. Beginner's luck built me bad habits, makes so much sense. Yeah, shout out to Izzy. Trust me, I've done that. And that's why I'm able to sit out on these moves. All right, let's see. Shout out to Gordon, said people are getting yippy. But anyway, let's go ahead and jump on into the charts, and I'll break down what I'm looking for next here on Bitcoin, guys. We'll take a look at the bullish signs. We'll take a look at some of the higher time frame bearish money flow, and I'll let you guys know what I'm expecting next. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump on into the charts. Let's get into it. So here we are, guys, on the Bitcoin chart. Shout out to Biomex, Tex-Mex, Biomex. Thank you for the super chat, bro. He said, can I pet the chart? Pet that dog. Tony the brick haver, Tony the brick haver, Tony the brick, have you a shout out on my last YouTube team video, by the way. You're a made man with Tony D. Paisans. Shout out to the Biomex. I think there were some typos in there potentially. But shout out to the Biomex. I appreciate you. Tony D is for sure a made man. And hey, Biomex, so are you. But without further ado, guys, let's go ahead and jump on in here. Now, as you guys know, there were many things. Let me go ahead and turn off these naked points of controls. And what I'm going to do here, guys, is I want to start off on the higher time frames, right? Now, as you guys know, as we've been looking at this, at the higher time frames, the 2-day, the weekly, all that good stuff, right? We have this key level here at the golden pocket, 786 Fibonacci retracement. And in my 2025 Bitcoin prediction video, as we were bing-bonging up here, I think I made it around December, maybe even in January, talking about how we might be able to see some kind of a significant correction down to between $80,000 and $75,000 because, when you get these big rips to the upside, guys, it is not, and, I talk about this all the time, right? Like, does this guarantee, right? Does this news guarantee that the bottom is not in? No. Is it somewhat good? Maybe, right? But when we look at this from a chart perspective, right, you have to anticipate these retracements, right? Nothing goes up in a straight line forever. When you have these massive green candles, this is never going to continue up forever, right? Like even here, you get a little pullback. Even here, you get a little pullback, right? And then eventually you do get that significant retracement. And in that 2025 prediction video, we did talk about how we had so much liquidity sitting down here, and it might make sense to come on down here and flush out a lot of that, those liquidations, right? And when we were looking for where that was going to come down to, right, we look at this golden pocket 786 retracement, and I know we look at this a lot, but this is very important, right? Because this was the level that we wanted to hold, right? And as long as we could continue to close daily and weekly candles above this 786, guys, this would be nice, at least for the medium-term price action on Bitcoin. Simply put, right? Because when we're looking for pullbacks, and if we are bullish, which obviously we are, right? Not saying that it's the bear market or anything like that. Obviously, we don't know if it is the bear market, right? But, you know, you're not going to get overly bearish after you get this big move to the downside. We even talked about this yesterday, right? Saying, like, I do think, right, that, you know, even if this isn't the bottom and we come down lower, which we'll get a little bit more into in just a second. But even if we did come back down, guys, I do think that this downtrend, right, is coming to an end, if it hasn't already come to an end, right? We came down to the golden pocket, we bounced, we came back down, we front ran that 786, and when you front run those 786s, guys, very often you will see those levels get tapped, and we have now come into that 786 Fibonacci retracement, and when you have a massive uptrend like this, right, you cannot argue that we are making higher highs and higher lows on the higher time frames, right? So when you see this, and you're anticipating higher lows and higher highs, where is that higher high or higher low likely to come in at? Well, just like we look at on the lower time frames, on the higher time frames, we look at those Fibonacci retracements. Golden pocket 786. That's the zone that we want to bounce off of. And if we bounce here, we could potentially put in that higher low and potentially break structure to the upside, right? Because if market structure is bullish, right, the trend is your friend until the end. And that's why when we came down here, even before we came down, saying if we come down here, guys, sentiment's going to be garbage. Everyone's going to be calling for the bear market. And again, I have to be very transparent. Could the bear market be here? Maybe, right? We don't know yet. It's too soon to tell. But until we wind up breaking like higher time frame market structure, as long as we hold above that all-time high and put the higher low in either on this golden pocket 786, even if we come down a little bit more, obviously we have the $70,000 to $72,000 golden pocket, which could also act as an area to put a higher low in to come test these previous highs a little bit more, right? We like barely came down and like I think we front ran this wick up here just a little bit, right? Yeah, I don't think we actually touched it. We front ran that wick just a little bit, but we obviously had the golden pocket 786. So this is an area where we could be potentially putting in a macro higher low, which is really nice, right? That is the zone. We didn't break below the 786, and this is the level that like I was talking about constantly, you know, a while ago at this point. You know, I don't want to lose this 786. We lose the 786, we get into a much stickier situation, right? Because if you start coming down here, you lose the golden pocket, you get stuck inside this volume profile. This is where things start to get a little bit more bearish, in my opinion, right? But we're holding this higher low, at least as of right now. Nice to see this green candle, like looking at this weekly candle right now. If we can hold this, guys, this could be the higher low. Now, I'm not instantly just going to expect to rip off into higher prices. We still have to be cautious in case we do come up, right? I know everything's super bullish right now, obviously. You see a green candle. All of a sudden, the sentiment flips. Oh, my God, bull run on alt seasons tomorrow. That's it, right? And we're going to take a look at the altcoins, too, in just a minute. But this is the area, guys, and what do we see happen here? You know, weekly money flow is still coming out, but that VWAP is looking. If we can get that green dot, maybe this weekend, maybe we could see that continuation up for the bigger retracement to the upside. And again, you know, as we approach here, guys, we have to be careful. We do have these Fibonacci retracement levels, and I will be revisiting this in just a second to look at those higher targets. But, you know, maybe we get the bigger retracement. It's really, in my opinion, like if we do see this continue up, we have to be aware. Green dot on the weekly could give you a big move up, right? But when money flow comes out, you have to be cautious. You have to be, right? Because if that money flow is going to cross over into the red and continue the downtrend, we have to look at those areas, right? Just like we looked at this golden pocket 786 for a potential higher low, we have to look at that golden pocket 786 above as a potential lower high scenario, right? Because if that money flow continues into the red, especially on the weekly, that would indicate lackluster bounce to the upside. Even if that lackluster bounce, right, is a 30% rip to the upside on a higher time frame, that will be looked at as a potential area to put in a lower high and continue lower. If we come up there and money flow is coming back into the green on the 2-day, right? Let's take a look at the 2-day, right? If that money flow comes back up on the 2-day, I'm going to come back to this time frame as well. You guys can see we might be able to print that bullish divergence on the 2-day that we looked at yesterday. But if we do continue up, right, the bull dip on the 2-day could give us a bounce, but until this money flow comes back up towards the zero line to look to cross over into the green, we have to be careful of that larger continuation to the downside. Money flow indicates the longer-term trend, right? I'm not going to go over the whole thing, but this is what we looked at back here when we had the daily money flow crossover right here. This is where we're saying, hey, guys, if we break down, take that liquidity, we're looking down towards 82 to about $75,000, where not only we have the 786, but we also had our weekly naked point of control sitting right here. So really, really nice. Just to give a little bit of a higher time frame perspective without all the levels on the chart, I just want to show this is the level we were looking at, and we were looking to try to find some kind of bottom here, whether it comes in at the 786 or we push a little lower into those into the bigger golden pocket between $72,000 and $70,000. But right now, this could look good, right? Not only have we come down to the 786, but we also have a potential 2-day bullish divergence printing, right? This is bullish, right? Doesn't mean all-time highs immediately, but if you get that green dot to print on the 2-day on market cipher B, lower lows, higher lows, into a key level of confluent support, 786, weekly naked point of control. And we have been looking, actually, let me pull up my face cam real quick here, guys. Now, obviously, let's see here. See if I can pull this up. This is a level that we've been watching not only on the live stream, but in the I won't even pull it up. It's fine. But this is a level that not only we've been watching on the live stream, but also in the premium Discord. So, weekly naked point of control, daily naked point of control, and that 786, right? Obviously, this was the larger zone, right? We looked at these as two separate support zones, right? You have your golden pocket, and then you have your 786 down here. But if you guys watch the live stream, you will know that daily naked point of control and weekly naked point of control is the, I don't want to say local, but it's the closer level of support that we've been looking at, right? And what happens? We come down, we push into those levels, and like I said, guys, I am not in a long position right now. Now, why is that, Frankie? What the heck, right? Well, very simply, guys, last night on the live stream, we looked at what I would be looking for a potential long position down here. And what it was a, let me actually take this stuff off the chart. Bada boom, bada bing. I'll get rid of this blue box. We were looking at our local range, right? Our local range is sitting right here. Oh, not that one. Right here, right? So we had this local range, and get rid of this. We flew through all this resistance. But as you can see here, right, we had the this wick here, right? Unless we were going to come down to the golden pocket at $70,000 to $72,000, what I wanted to see here, guys, was a swing. The only thing I would have been interested in was the swing failure pattern of that wick. And you can see we pushed down. We thought we were going to get it, but we did not get the confirmation. And for me personally, guys, if there is no confirmation, there is simply no trade. And here's the kicker, right? When it comes to like feeling like you're missing out on a move, just understand, right? We looked for this. I was looking for this, right? The SFP, we didn't get it. And earlier today, we were looking at that 1-hour money flow crossover into the green with our 16-hour green dot, saying, hey, guys, green dot on the 16 hours printing, 1-hour money flow starting to cross over into the green. It looks like we could continue up. However, I did not get my confirmations down here, so there's simply no trade. But we are going to be looking for other trades. There's always another opportunity on the chart. And, yeah, I mean, missed that SFP by what is this? A couple of bucks? Pretty insane. But just understand, guys, like you're not going to catch every position. I don't catch every position. If I did try to catch every position, I would lose a ton of money. I can promise you that. But really nice to see that we're holding support here on that 786 golden pocket. Like from a very simple higher time frame perspective, I'm sure there's a lot of new people in here trying to be like, what the heck is going on with Bitcoin? We came into the golden pocket 786 retracement, and we finally are looking to put that bullish divergence in, and this could be an area to get that macro bounce. If we do not get that, right, which does look pretty good right now, not only do we have the bull div looking to form, we have the daily green dot now printing as well. And what else do we have on that daily green dot? We have that 90-minute money flow looking to come to the upside potentially here if we get that crossover. This 90-minute money flow crossover, if this 90-minute money flow crossover happens, this would be the next signal that I would be looking at for a continuation to the upside. Not that we can't get cool-offs, right? Not that we can't, we're looking for the continuation of the trend, right? The red and the green dots indicate the ebbs and the flows in the market. The money flow indicates the overall trend, right? Just like on the higher time frames. So I'm going to be watching that daily green dot with the 90-minute money flow crossover and the 2-day bullish divergence. These are the bullish signs on the chart, and not to mention the weekly VWAP looking to cross over that zero line, right? If we can get that by the weekend, right, that might be able to assist this push to the upside. If we continue up, my plan remains the same. I'm going to be looking at the macro. I'm going to be looking at the macro, like just higher time frame perspective here. We bounced off the golden pocket 786. If we see the bigger retracement to the upside, I will be looking at about $97,000 to $102,000 as like an end goal. And then that's where we're going to reassess the situation, analyze the money flow. Is the weekly VWAP rolling over with money flow continuing down? If so, maybe a very, very good short opportunity. But if not, right, no confirmations, we will simply look for the bigger move to the upside. And there's going to be plenty of room and plenty of time to look for long entries, on our way up there, right? Not chasing anything by any means, guys. Take it from me. But that's what we're looking at from the higher time frame perspective. Really, really, really nice to see that bullish divergence and the news, right? If that news didn't come out, maybe that bull dip would have gotten, would have not confirmed, and we would have continued down to 72 to 70,000. And if we do, for some reason, just get some kind of like crazy dump to the downside, the key levels down below remain exactly the same. Golden pocket, and get rid of this blue box here, right? Golden pocket, $72 to $70,000, right? So yeah, that's still that was the other level I was looking at for a long, right? If I didn't get the SFP down here, right, which we didn't get, but I mean, if we nuked through this, right, if we just continue down, I was looking for longs down here. But no SFP, no dump down here. I sit on my hands and I let price go. And it's nice, right? Because now our spot bags are a little more up than they were yesterday. But yeah, let's see. Shout out to Flatsmack said Bitcoin greater than tariffs. Let's go, baby. But yeah, that's really what I'm looking at from a higher time frame perspective. I'm going to go into the local time frames here, or lower time frames, and kind of explain, what I'm looking at, what this might look like on the way up if we do continue, key levels of resistance. But just understand here, guys, very, very nice to see that support on the 786. And if we can hold above that level, $72,000 and $70,000 might be avoided. That would be really, really nice, at least for now, right? Because again, that 786, if we lost that 786, guys, playing with this area would have been very, very difficult, right? Because it's like, hey, we can come down there. Maybe you get, maybe we get another bullish divergence on the 2-day or something like that. But if we came down here, guys, this is a difficult situation to navigate, because it's like if you don't bounce here, maybe you bounce off the POC, but at that point you're below macro resistance, which is the value area high of this previous range, and it just makes it a very, very difficult long to take, right? That 786, I always have preferred to see that hold. So, it doesn't guarantee it, but I would like that better. I don't want to have to deal with this situation down here. It's going to be very, very, very difficult. But yeah, that's what we're looking at. Very nice into that macro 786. And let's go down to those lower time frames and kind of talk about what we have going on locally here. So let's go on down to the 1 hour here. Let's go ahead and get rid of that. And let's take a look at our ranges. So we have our local range here, which we are now sitting at that POC. And if you guys remember yesterday, as I was talking about sitting on my hands, right, because like no real confirmations down here for me to personally take a trade. But if I pull up that little scalp range, right, just saying like, hey, maybe we could create some kind of a range down here. But once we break out, right, I am simply sitting on my hands either for the SFP, which we didn't get, or the move down to 72 to 70K, which we didn't get. If that didn't happen, I was simply going to wait for our next major level of resistance to get hit, which we are sitting at pretty much right now, right? So if I pull this up, I'll pull up the daily level. We'll pull up the not a weekly, daily naked point of control, weekly naked point of control, and then we have the POC of the range and our. So these are lower time frames, guys. Pulling from the high to the low. This fib is pulled from the overall high here of this entire move down to the low. Golden pocket, daily naked point of control, POC. This daily naked point of control is tapped now, so I'll take that off the chart, right? But now we're tapping into that golden pocket. And did we tap that weekly naked? Ooh, baby. We tapped that weekly naked point of control. So we're right in here, right? And if I turn on our resistance levels that we looked at yesterday, obviously this is our next major level of resistance. So this is an area where we could potentially get a little bit of turbulence. But if we do get a move to the downside, if I take any short trades, guys, I am going to be looking at this $81,200 level as key support, because as you know, I do not love trading the middle of a range. And, honestly, with the news, kind of dangerous to trade this, in my opinion. I might even have to sit on my hands for even longer than I anticipated. But if I do get a signal up here, I may take a little short position with the premium Discord. But we do have to view that as we actually already tapped into this level and got a little rejection. But if we get more confirmation up here, we could potentially look for scalp trades, but we have to be careful around that value area low. Because this is the middle of the range, we're now above the value area low. If we cool off and we're able to hold, as long as we're able to hold above this value area low, right, the POC is in play here. We've already tapped it, but if we come back down and we hold this as support, we may be able to come back up to the POC. And then if we do flip this to support, right, we're just simply going to be looking up towards that value area high, where we have our next area of confluence, which is sitting right here with the daily horizontal and the 786 and the value area high. And not to mention, guys, please understand, we have a lot of liquidity sitting above these highs, right? Right above here. Right above these highs. And if I pull up, let me see, do I have the, see if I have the heat map open here, right? Bada boom, right here. We have that hot block of liquidity. I've shown this a million times, but we have this liquidation level here. The real significant area starts at about 84,600, but there is liquidity above all of these wicks, right? There's a little liquidity above here. So if we start cracking this daily, right, we might be able to come up and sweep some of these liquidations, right? Really above these highs and above these highs. Right? So if we do creep up here, just understand we might be able to see that quick liquidation wick to push us into that value area high, daily 786, right? And this is just on track with our volume profile, right? You get above the high, we get above the value area low. Once you hold above the value area low, you look to go to the POC, right? Here we kind of shot right up to the POC because of the aggressive buying. But once you flip that POC, you look to go to the value area high. But don't get it twisted. These are key levels of resistance. But with that 2-day bull div, maybe they just wind up being scalps until we continue to the upside, right? Or maybe we just melt through them. But we'll have to see. You can see we're stalling out here just a little bit, which is not surprising because we have key resistance, right? So I'm actually going to update this level here. Bada boom. Pull that up there because we already took out that daily naked. So yeah, here we are, right? About the $84-ish thousand zone, right? Sitting between $82 and about $84,000 was that next key level of resistance. And now I sat on my hands. We did exactly what I said yesterday. Sat on my hands, and now we're here. So we are reassessing the situation here to see if we can look for short positions. But again, if you're out there, especially if you're new to trading, be careful out there right now, guys, because, especially if you're looking for longs, right? Could this thing continue to pump? Absolutely. This happens every single time, and I always say the same thing. Oh, my God, we're getting an aggressive pump, guys. This is crazy. Don't chase it. You're going to have some kind of an area to look for pullbacks, and you would much rather, right, rather than like FOMOing in here and having to hold through drawdown or FOMOing in here, looking for holding through drawdown. You want to wait for some kind of significant retracement, even if you have to let it go. And then it comes back and you find another long position. There's always another area on the chart. So I cannot stress enough, especially because I saw all those chats in that Fox live stream. I'm like, is this like a news live stream or is this a crypto live stream? A lot of people are talking about the stock market, but just understand, like, don't feel the FOMO, right? Like if you were here the last time we had the massive pumps, you probably felt FOMO, right? And I know a lot of people bought in on that FOMO and felt the pain. So just remember that lesson you learned when you see these moves to the upside. So just be very careful. That's all I want to say. But yeah, here we are. We'll see if we break above this key level daily at 83,800 is really where I think that liquidity could potentially start to push us up towards those upper levels. And again, we have specific confirmations we're looking at for some potential shorts in these areas. I'm not going to go into those details, obviously, but yeah, I mean, as of right now, from a very simple standpoint, guys, with all the nitty-gritty levels off the chart, and we're just looking at volume profiles, right? We'll take the daily off. We'll even take the Fibonacci retracements off. Actually, I'll keep the fibs on just because there's beautiful confluence, right? POC. Bada boom, right? And obviously, when we're trading, we want to know where all the key levels are. But just in general here, if we're looking at this from a volume profile perspective, we're above the low. As long as you remain above the value area low at 81.2, we look to go to the POC. We got that, right? If we could flip that POC, we're looking to go to the value area high. Very simple, right? And here we are, right? We just wait for those moves into the key levels. If we get the confirmations, we'll take those trades. Let's see. Time to go schlong. Shout out to DMB Smurf. Let's go, baby. Let's go. Time to long it and short it at the exact same time. Let's see here. Bada boom, bada bing. 74, 76, 77. Triple bottom. 70. Wait, hang on. 74, 76, 70. Shout out to Eugene. Maybe we could take a look at that in just a minute. And, the only thing down here, guys, as I try to assess my situation, and like I said, right, went missing that swing failure pattern by just that tiny little bit. Was there a reason to go long here, right? The only thing I could have looked at was what we looked at earlier today, right here, right? I'll come over to the 1 hour so we could show it, right? The simplest, we've been talking about this a lot just because they've been hitting. But the 1 hour money flow crossover with the 16-hour green dot. Very, very reliable and very simple market cipher setup to look for, right? All you have to look for is the green dot, in this case, on the 16-hour, and then you wait to see if that 1 hour money flow is crossing over into the green. We saw that earlier in the Discord and said, hey, looks like we could continue up based off that stuff. But again, no setup, no trade for me. You don't have to trade every single move. And you could even be right about direction. That's totally fine, right? Doesn't mean that there's a reason to enter. And again, if you start breaking those rules, you're going to start seeing pumps and dumps that are really not there. And that's what's going to chew your account up over time. But the one thing, if I had to look in hindsight here, guys, the one thing that we can see here, if we pull up the weekly naked point of control, other than the fact that it was the key level of support, I don't really even classify this, but you can look at this, and we do have the slightest bullish divergence here on the 4 hour, right? To the bodies of your candles. This wick did not make the lower low, though, but you do have it on your bodies, which, again, I don't know. Like, this is technically... Yeah, I don't really classify that as a strong divergence. Not that it's not going to give it, not that it can't give you a strong bounce, but it's just not a strong confirmation in my opinion. I really like to see nice lower lows on price action, right? Low, clear lower low on your wicks and your bodies, and then you have your higher low on your momentum waves, right? But we didn't even really have that. It was more of like an exaggerated bull div, right, with equal lows and then higher lows. But yeah, again, just not enough for me to enter, right, and that's totally fine. But yeah, I mean, I cannot believe we missed that SFP. Unbelievable. But yeah, other than that, guys, here we are. About 83, came up to almost 83.5, right? Like this is the first key level of resistance. Flip that, might be able to squeeze that liquidity up into the value area high. Simply put, I don't want to overcomplicate it, right? So there you go. Let's see. Shout out to Aziz said, Frankie, why can't we confirm a macro reversal using market cipher B? Are we seeing mixed signals or macro reversals usually become more clear over time? So the only reason, right, I would say, if I'm not looking at market cipher, right, I would say to myself, let me come back over here. I'll just come back over here to a clean chart. Go ahead and hide all this, right? So you could call macro reversals, right? I would say here, right, if I'm not looking at market cipher B, right, again, obviously we've been looking at this level forever. If you've not seen my Bitcoin 2025 prediction video, right, like this was what I mentioned at the end. Like, hey, guys, this looks pretty good, but hey, don't be scared if we get that big correction down to $80,000 to $75,000. Key levels down there. We'll cross that bridge when we get there, and then obviously we covered on the live stream a million times. But I would say, if you're looking for this to come down just from a simple standpoint, Golden Pocket 786, that's where you're looking for a bounce, right? And a potential higher low before higher highs. And that looks good as of right now, right? We have to take things as they develop. Nice bullish divergence. I'll have to look at market cipher B a little bit just to show the divergence, right? Daily bullish divergences, right? You kind of have 3 lower lows with those higher lows on your momentum waves. And did this actually end up, yeah, this local wave did not make a higher low, right? It actually made a lower low. But you do have it, basically, again, it is on the 2-day as well, but you have these 3 lower lows with the higher lows on your momentum waves. Price action's coming down, momentum's coming up. That's your discrepancy. And that's what you look for the reversal, right? So daily bull div, 2-day bull div, is nice, right? Especially into a key level like this. Not only the 786, but also the weekly naked point of control. So when you see bull divs into those levels, very nice to see, right? Took a little bit of time to get down here, and we kind of fumbled around here a little bit, which made it very, very difficult. But we did eventually come down and tap that 786. So, but here's the thing, right? The reason we could call this a potential macro reversal, right? If we were looking at something like the RSI, right? We're not looking at market cipher B. If I were just looking at this, right? I'd say, well, hey, we have bullish divergences, higher lows, lower lows. Very nice. That could be a macro reversal. But because market cipher shows us the money flow, this is just the one thing that we have to get over. This is the last hurdle. If we continue up, this is the hurdle we have to get above, right? Or over, right? This money flow coming out, just like any other time frame, just like the 1-hour money flow crossover into the green was able to predict this continuation up. And you can see that money flow crossover happened just before that pump, right? On a higher time frame like this 2-day money flow coming out would indicate, at least as of right now, if it stays in the red, you are going to look for lackluster retracements, lower highs, and lower lows. Why? Because money flow indicates the longer-term trend. As long as this is in the red, we have to anticipate lower highs and lower lows. We did it here, and what happened? You put in the lower high, where? On a Golden Pocket 786, and what happens after that? Lower low into the 786. That completes the bullish divergence, which is very nice to see. However, when we look at the money flow on the 2-day, it's still in the red, right? So if we do continue up, we just have to be careful. Is this going to be, and we don't know, guys. Nobody knows. Is this going to come up and put in a lower high before going into a lower low and maybe bear market, right? Again, I'm not in the camp that the bull market's over, right? I've been saying that every day. I feel like I've been probably beating that dead horse more than we typically beat dead horses. I'm just kidding. I love animals. But we just have to see, like, what is price going to look like up here? Are we going to see this money flow curve back to the upside? Is the daily money flow coming back into the green? The daily money flow will come back into the green first, and then you look to see, hey, is that 2-day coming up too? Because if it is, that would be the good sign for the continuation up. Like I always say, guys, the money flow, when you want a big move to the upside, you want to see your money flow, especially on the higher time frames, go from a red wave into a green wave. Right? And that's why when we looked at the bounces at the Golden Pocket and the first approach here to our key levels at about 76,800, right? We didn't know, we didn't think it was going to be a very big bounce, right? Because money flow was coming out, right? And when you want a big rip to the upside, what do you need, right? You need money flow to go from red and cross into the green. What do we have here? Or what do we have back here? Right back here, we have the opposite. We came down to support. We even put in 2-day bullish divergences here. Same thing that we have now. This one's much, much cleaner in my opinion. But we had a little bull div here on the 2-day, but money flow was about to cross over into the red. That's why we called for the lower high and the lower low. It just has to do with money flow. And it's going to be the same thing, right? Like, We came down here. Everybody was going to call for the bear market. We warned of it. I did not call for the bear market. I still don't think it's the bear market. I wouldn't put a 100% guarantee on that, obviously. I could be wrong, but, and I'm totally open to that, guys. If we pump up here, right, keep this in mind. If we pump up here and I think that it is the bear market, I'm not just going to be like, I think it's the bull market and we're pumping, so it's the bull market, right? If we come up here and I see the bear signs and I think it's the bear market, I'm shorting the heck out of that thing and I'm getting out of everything I own, right? Pretty much. But we'll cross that bridge when we get there, right? But it's all based off money flow. So yes, this could be a macro bottom signal, especially with the news, right? But we just have to watch this money flow, right? Like we can't just make that decision right now. Everybody in crypto is very emotional, right? They're like, oh my God, the bottom's in, all-time highs. And sure, this is a plausible thing that we can look at, but you can't get ahead of yourself, right? In my opinion, we could look at that 2-day bull div like we did, right? Looking for the bounce on the key level, right? And that could give us a move up, right? But we just have to wait for that money flow to curve back up in order to feel really confident about a big continuation up to new highs. But it could be the case, right? Like I said, I've always, I don't know why people, right? Other than, again, we have a lot of crazy stuff going on with the tariffs and all that stuff, right? So like, could that put us into a crazy recession? Big dump down on Bitcoin. Bitcoin's never seen that. That's definitely possible as well. But I just personally don't fall in the camp that the bear market is here. But if we come up here and money flow is still coming out, I will change my tune, right? We have to assess new information as it comes on the chart. Every day there's new information. And if you're not looking at that and willing to adjust your narrative, you are not making logical decisions. You're making decisions based off of hope. And you know what the chart doesn't care about? Hope. But right now it feels pretty good. So hopefully we can just continue up and hopefully that money flow does come back into the green and we can call for higher prices. But it's just too soon for right now. But we're just seeing what we're looking for, right? Worst case scenario, we go for a bigger retracement up, right? And then we maybe get opportunity to look for shorts and potentially exit some of your bags that maybe you held from underwater. Not you, me. Not financial advice. But, worst case scenario, we get the rally. It feels really good. Everyone starts calling for $1 million, and we see the bearish signals. And if it looks really bad, I will say, hey, guys, this money flow is still coming out. I think maybe we go into a bear market now. Very similar to back here, right? We come up. We retest the golden pocket 786. What is your money flow on the higher time frames doing? Simply put, it was crossed into the red, right? This indicates the macro trend will continue to the downside. And when it's on the 6-day and the weekly, that is typically a very strong signal of a large downtrend to come, right? But until we see that, right, if we came up, right, similar to what we're doing now, if we retrace all the way up into some local fibs and we get that money flow crossover, we do have to be aware of that. But if we start flipping levels, money flow comes back into the green, maybe we can look for that money flow fake out, right? But again, just too soon to tell. We have to wait for that wait for the information to pop up, and we'll assess that situation when we get there. But right now, with the 2-day bull div, if we can get that to print with the money flow coming up on the medium time frames, maybe we see that bigger continuation up. Now, how high could we go? Well, let's talk about that, right? So locally, I do think if we continue the pump, obviously coming back up to the value area high at about $86,130 would be the next local target. If we can make it above this golden pocket weekly naked point of control, flip above there, that would be like a local target to the upside. But on the higher time frames, right, when we're looking at more significant levels, obviously, let me turn some of this off so we don't get all confused, right? Hide that. So if we do get a bigger retracement, right, from a higher time frame perspective, where could we look? Well, let's pull up our upper range, right? Our major range here from all this consolidation, $91,000 is still key resistance, right? And that is obviously also very close, or not very close, but somewhat close to our value area high of this current range at about $88,000, right? That's not the local range. That's the, I would say medium time frame range, right? So right now, same PLC as the local range, right? Maybe we creep above here. Maybe we take some of that liquidity. We squeeze up. 88.2 would be another big target. And then if we squeeze up there, I'm going to be looking at the larger, higher time frame levels, right? So let's assume that we're just going to continue up, right? All these local levels are there. We have them on the chart. We're ready for them, right? But if we do continue up in a bigger way, let's say we get through all that, right? Simply put, $91,000 macro value area high and potential doorway to higher prices sits at $91,000 is what I'm looking at, right? So if we creep up there, start flipping this value area low to support, we could potentially get accepted back into this volume profile and get the bigger push up towards about $97,000. And this fib did move very slow. No, it didn't. That is the current. I moved it already. So there you go, right? Golden pocket. This will be a macro golden pocket retracement, right? Just like we had this macro golden pocket 786 retracement, and we're bouncing from it, we can look at that as a big level of resistance, right? So above, on the higher time frames, let's forget about the locals because I don't want to confuse everybody. Let's say we continue up. $91,000 is huge macro resistance. Flip that to support. This anchored VWAP will also be coming down, so hopefully we can flip that anchored VWAP to support as well. And then we can look for the continuation into the POC. If we flip the POC, we can look to go to the value area high. It's at this moment, right, as we're pushing into this range, that we're looking at that higher time frame money flow. Is it coming back up? Are the higher time frames starting to look a little bit better? Maybe we can actually get out of here and dodge the bullet. And then maybe QE, right? Maybe we get QE and then just sends everything off into a massive bull run. That would be amazing. But those are still, again, like, this range never changed, right? This range is just still sitting there. But now, right, you continue up. Just look to get accepted into this range. Could go to the POC, golden pocket, 786 value area high. And there's also other confluent levels in here. I'm not going to show them all because I don't want to confuse everybody because it does get nitty gritty, right? But if we come up here and we see things look bearish, we might be looking for shorts because not only are we going to be looking at the full macro golden pocket retracement, but we could also look at some local retracements as well, right? So we'll have to assess that situation as it comes. But right now, I would say the biggest levels of resistance to look at, in my personal opinion, are going to be if we get above the POC, major resistance at $88,000, right? Honorable mention, $86,000 at the local value area high. So 86 above, 88 above, 91 above. And then at that point, right, we have we have a lot of resistance up in here, but from a simple standpoint, from a gold Fibonacci and a volume profile perspective, 97K, right? That could look really good. And then up above that, 102 to 103K. And once we start breaking out of that, maybe we do wind up going up for those all-time highs. In which case, not going to lie, the 2025 Bitcoin prediction video would look really, really, really good. Looking for that higher low to come in here. But again, just because that was my base case does not mean that I'm just going to stand on that if it's not going to play out, right? If we come up here and, my base case here is bull market's probably not over. If this is the low, I would expect to, maybe bing bong around, but eventually we would break that high, right? But again, if we come up here and things change, right? I'm not just going to stick with that because I want my original idea to be right. Like how crazy would that be? I have money in the market, right? So I'm going to want to get out of my bags if I think it's topping out. So let's see. Shout out to Lasers. What is going on, bro? Welcome in. Dropping that bing bong emoji. Let's get it, baby. Let's go. Let's see. Getting above 85K would be huge. This is actually, shout out to World. This is something I wanted to cover as well, guys, because if we look at this, you guys know we talked about this, I don't know if it was yesterday or the day before. We have that macro trend line, right? And actually, this lines up with a couple other key levels, right? This macro trend line, if we pull up the daily, bada boom, and I'll hide the local range for now, right? We have this macro trend line, right? From the high here all the way down, right? And this is really what has been hammering us to the downside constantly. And we are tapping on the door once again. And so, again, this is a big level to get above. If we could break above that, right, this would very greatly increase the chances of at least getting the bigger retracement towards 91 to 97K, right? And, if you look at this, right, you could even potentially look at this as somewhat of a like a falling wedge type pattern, right? And, the one thing that I'm really looking at here is if we zoom in to the lower time frames, you could see that trend line is very confluent with this POC, and this is the level that we were talking about. Hey, flip above this level, lot of liquidity above here, and the value area high. This could be the level to break above, right? Because not only are you getting above the local POC, which would be nice for a local move up to $86,000, and if we look at the current range or the larger range, right, get above this POC, flip it to support, maybe even looking at 88, right? But on a higher time frame perspective, it's like, well, hey, what does that look like, right? Well, it kind of looks like you're breaking a massive long-term downtrend for a potential big breakout, right? So yeah, I mean, this does look somewhat good. Again, you have to be careful with like the crazy news, right? Like you never know, especially recently, like we had fake news happen and we dumped. It's pretty crazy, right? But this is what I'm looking at on the charts. We also have our anchored VWAP coming right through here as well. So I would agree that, from where we are right now at about 83,250 all the way up to about 85K is like a huge zone to get above, right? What we do not want to see is a big sweep of liquidity and a big SFP, right? If we got something like, actually, literally, if we get something like this again, right? Caught that nice short to the downside live on stream. I didn't take it live, but took it right before the live stream. But, we don't want this, right? We don't want to sweep liquidity into resistance and then close the candle back below that, right? Because then we look for another move down, right? So we get that. We do have all that liquidity sitting up here. If we squeeze that and get another one of these like scam wicks, right, that would be not what we want to see. Start closing below 83 to 82K. Even 85K would probably be somewhat bearish in my opinion, and then maybe we go down lower. But right now, the bull divs on the 2-day and the weekly green dot income, if that weekly green dot prints, I don't know if we're going to see that, right? We will be ready for the short if it does happen, but definitely good World. I'm glad you said that because this is something I looked at recently, and it does line up perfectly with these volume profile levels. Let's see. Let's see. Hey, from Brazil, nice content question. Bad idea to short now? Question mark. Shout out to Canal. It depends, right? It depends. It depends on what confirmations you're looking for. Do you have a reason to take a short? But just because you're hitting a level like. You need a plan, right? You need a plan. It's you can't just like see resistance and be like, should I short here? You have to have a better understanding of why you would actually look for a short and why you would expect to move to the downside. So I would need to see confirmations. I'm not seeing anything up here right this second, but that again doesn't mean you can't push down. But for me personally, right, like I don't see anything right this second that would make me want to short this. So yeah, it doesn't mean you can't reject, right? It doesn't mean that I might find a confirmation later on as we bing bong around. But like right now, it's like if you were looking to just short this because we got a big pump and we're hitting resistance, I guess you could short off of that. But, I personally like to have actual entry triggers, a liquidity sweep, some kind of bearish divergences, bearish CVD, something like that to actually enter into the position. So, yeah, it really depends on what your actual trading plan is. Let's see. Yo, shout out to Felix. Said, yo, Frankie, what's good, bro? Thanks for all the sauce. Preach, bro. Preach. Shout out to Felix. Let's go, baby. Let's go. I appreciate you for being here, man. We got Rob the Crypto Snob in the chat. By the way, guys, show our mods some love in the chat if you have not already. We got Rob the Crypto Snob, Crypto Billy, who had his birthday yesterday, Crypto Anon, Captain Kirk, D Petty Crypto, Dave Digital. You guys know who they are. Darren Does Things. They're all in here. Show them some love if you have not already. Bada boom, bada bing. And the other thing, too, right, like, keep in mind, right, like when you see this, especially on news, you want to be very, very, very careful, right? Be very careful because sometimes those bullish or bearish signals will, sometimes get stepped on, right? I mean, you could see, we do a little bit of a 15-minute bear div here. But again, like I can't tell you whether to short or long. If I were to take a short here, I would be fine having a tight stop loss and losing it. But yeah, let's see here. We got the 15-minute bear divs into the POC, but you do have to be careful, right? Because like if you don't lose the POC and you flip it to support, you could just push up, right? And understanding that we have a lot of that liquidity sitting above, I wouldn't be surprised if that liquidity acts as a magnet for price, guys. You have to understand liquidity oftentimes acts as a magnet for price, and this is the level that we've been looking at ever since it was created, right? We're like, hey, we got liquidity up there, and we never came to get it, but we do still have it up there, right? And as we get closer, it could start to act as a magnet. So again, if I do take any, this is not a setup, right? I'm just going to use this to kind of visualize price movement, right? So like if you did take a short here, right? I'm not telling you too short. I'm just saying if you are in a short and you've already fired on it and you want to hold it, just understand. I would be viewing this as a scalp. Honestly, guys, in all this price action we've seen recently on like these really wonky, volatile, fake news moves, I have been treating the market in general, not only taking fewer trades to keep higher probabilities, but also treating a lot of my trades as scalps until proven otherwise, right? So if I were to take this, in my opinion, it's like I would have to see an aggressive reaction here because if you take a short here and you enter right now, you are 0.1% away from the POC, which could be the level that you flip to support before bouncing up. And in a volatile environment like this and having liquidity sitting above, it could be dangerous, right? And by dangerous, I just mean as dangerous as you make it, right? Because you can have a really tight stop loss and only risk a little bit of money here. So you could take a shot, but you just have to be really careful because you're coming into support. And if you do get back below that POC, this would be nice, right? Okay, cool, I'm in the money, right? And if I lose this POC, I could look to come down to the value area low. But I would also be very careful here because if we are going to get accepted into this range and use this value area low as support, that might be, we might flip it and continue through the whole profile. So you just have a lot of support down below at this point because you're inside the range. I don't love taking trades in the middle of a range. We have a lot of confluence up here with key levels. So it's not that I just wouldn't take it, but I do treat them a little differently, right? Like you would have to like TP early, move your stop loss to break even early, because in case you do come down, flip this to support and come up, you want to make sure you're not risking your like life, right? Like even if you bounce off the POC and you come up, that's kind of like, just be aware of that, right? Doesn't mean you can't short, but you do have the 15-minute bear div confirmed. Let's take a look at some of these other time frames. Let's see. Yeah, like no 15-minute bear div. So, maybe you get a little pullback, but I would be careful here as far as, let me see here. 15-minute bull div, bear div, I'm sorry. Yeah, no 30-minute bear div. That would have been a nice little extra confirmation. I like to see those low time frame divs and then kind of like to see them creep up through the time frames here. But again, like 30-minute money flow crossing over into the green. 8-hour green dot's been confirmed. How's that 45-minute money flow looking? Yeah, still, oh, wow, coming back out. Still not in the green just yet. But yeah, like with the 16-hour green dot and the 1 hour money flow crossover into the green, you just have to be careful, right? Because the idea here off the 1 hour, until proven otherwise, is potential higher lows and higher highs, right? So like, you know, maybe you continue up or you put another higher low in. So you just have to be careful if you are taking shorts here. But yeah, all I see is low time frame divs. We don't really have the 30-minute div. All we really have is low time frame divergences. Let me see something here. Yeah, I would, we'll see what happens. There's not a ton of other, like, real significant confirmation here, in my opinion. So yeah, just be careful. You are right by support, so just be careful. But yeah, money flow coming up on the 30-minute. 45-minute would be nice to see that crossover with the 12-hour. And then the 80 and 90-minute money flow crossover into the green with the daily green dot. The last few times we looked at this, guys, on the next videos the next day, we're like, hey, guys, yesterday we looked at the 90-minute and the 80-minute money flow crossover into the green with the daily green dot for the continuation up, and here we are, right? That doesn't mean just FOMO trade it, but, you know, if we get that 80 and 90-minute money flow crossover into the green, could be continuation to the upside. So yeah, it looks good. Like, it looks a little better on the lower time frames. It's really just like, I mean, especially with these higher time frame bull divs. Can they get invalidated? Sure. But, you know, oftentimes these will give you some kind of a significant bounce. And this is not printing yet. This VWAP could get rejected at the 0 line. But if it prints, that would look pretty good in my opinion for the bigger continuation up. And then like the only thing I'm really being careful of is if we do get the massive move up, just being careful around those larger Fibonacci retracements, $96,000 to $101,000 that we showed earlier. So yeah, that's what I'm looking at. Let me jump in the chat real quick, and we will be taking a look at some of the altcoins as well, guys. Let's see. Canada agrees to negotiate new trade deal with us. Oh, baby. Shout out to Bala. Bala? I don't know how to say your name. I apologize. But let's see. Shout out to Rob the Crypto Snob. Said, you've got that in common with Frankie Candles then. Shout out to Jay Violet. Said, my favorite mod, just saying. Oh, shout out to Rob the Crypto Snob. I plead the fifth, guys. I plead the fifth. I don't have any favorite mods. I love them all equally. I genuinely mean that. Let's see. Shout out to R Pink. Says, lots of great info. Thanks, Frankie. No problem. Shout out to R Pink. And shout out to everybody who's been watching these live streams, guys. I try my best to warn of downside without causing panic, right? Like, hey, guys, could drop to 75 to 80K, but I wouldn't think bear market, right? Even if we go down to 72 to 70K, right? Like, I try to be calm here. I know a lot of people were scared of the bear market, and I'm not saying that like, oh my God, we're pumping. There's no bear market, right? Again, be very clear. We are logical traders. I saw a quote the other day that said, most traders don't need a better strategy or most traders don't need better setups or more setups. What they need is a therapist, which is hilarious because I can relate to that, right? It's like, you just want to be calm and not tied to, oh my God, this happened. And you can see this in all types of, whether you're on YouTube or wherever you are, if you've ever been around people who are into crypto or trading, it's always, it's very ego driven, right? Which is literally not what you want to have involved in your trading, right? You want to be egoless. If you have an ego, you are going to get humbled very quickly by the market. The market does not care about your ego. People are like, oh, I called this. We bounced here. I thought this was going to happen. From someone who trades full time, right? This means nothing, right? This means absolutely nothing. The sooner you understand that you don't know everything, right? And I think this too. You don't know everything. The market can humble you. The market can do whatever it wants. You can have great analysis, but if you don't have the discipline to execute your trading plan following your rules, it doesn't matter how many times you're right about where price is going to go, right? If you're not entering based off of a system or a strategy with good risk management, you are not going to make money, right? It's like, you know, yeah, anyway, I'll just leave that there. But let's see. Yo, shout out to Crypto Pollo, said, trade like a Terminator, no emotion, profit. Yeah, like trade like a savage. Or I'm sorry, chart like a savage, trade like a monk. You know, it does it, and like it will test you guys. It will test you not only when you're losing a trade, but when you're missing a trade, right? Like I'm sitting here cool-headed, right? And we had the setup here, right? Like think about that. Hey, if we come down to the $75,000 MPOC and we SFP, I might be looking for a long, right? This is where we're looking for this a potential big bounce on that 786 for a macro retracement. It takes you forever. You actually front ran the level right here very slightly. Then we came down, we tapped it, and then we went, right? And I'm watching price go up, and it's okay. It's like, I knew this was going to happen, right? But why did I not take the trade? A lot of people would ask, well, if you knew the 1 hour money flow was coming up and you have the 16-hour green dot, why don't you just enter the trade? Because that's not an entry signal, right? You could be right about price going up, right? You could be like, hey, I think it's going to continue up, but I'm still going to wait for my next level. If I don't have a signal to take the trade down here, I don't care if it goes up, right? It doesn't matter, right? It's none of my business, right? It's like, okay, cool. I was right about the direction, but I had no reason to enter. And more often than not, if you follow those rules, guys, or if you don't follow those rules, more often than not, you're going to start taking trades with no confirmation, and 9 out of 10 times, you're going to do this, right? Especially with an SFP. We talk about this a lot. If I'm waiting for this level to SFP and we front run the level, very often, I would say 8 out of 10 times, you will come down and sweep those lows, right? It took me 100 times of just trying to front run trades to finally sit there and wait for the, to front run trades and get stopped out to come take the actual setup I was looking for. And then I would get stopped out and I would miss the trade, right? I'd rather either miss the trade and not lose money, right? Or sit on my hands and wait for the confirmation. If I saw the confirmation, I would take the trade, right? So take it from me, right? Like I don't just say this stuff. I actually do it, right? Like if I had the SFP, I would have taken the trade. If not, I don't take the trade. I don't take the trade. Am I freaking out? Not at all, right? Because you can catch the shorts, you can catch the next long, whatever it is. There's infinite possibilities or opportunities, I should say. All right, let's see. Bada boom, bada bing. Bada boom. Let's see. You should buy when people are scared. That's the real truth. Absolutely. Shout out to Godlike. You want to? I mean, it's very simple, right? Very simple, not easy. Buy fear, sell greed. Super simple. I say this all the time. It's like going to the gym. You want to get in shape? You want to get jacked? You want to lose fat? Go to the gym and eat right every day, consistently. Simple. Eat right, work out, sleep. That's it. Simple. Drink water. I don't know. It's like super simple. But have you ever tried to go to the gym consistently? It's not easy. Simple and easy are not the same thing. It's the same exact thing with trading, right? So anyway, let's see. Just make sure I didn't miss anything, and then we'll take a look at the altcoins as well. Muy humbling. Shout out to Crypto Sharknado. Let's go, baby. Come on, spot bags, baby. Let's go. Shout out to Trey Flip. Day trades will show up soon. Absolutely. Shout out to Crypto Pollo. Crypto Anon in the chat. Let's get it. Let's get it. Shout out to Abdu says, you don't use Market Cypher A? Shout out to you, bro. That's a great question. No, I actually do use Market Cypher A. I just don't have it on the chart all the time. I like to try to keep my chart as clean as possible. So I do have Market Cypher A up here all the time. I kind of just turn it on and off. I don't use it as much as Market Cypher B, but it is always on here. I always do check it. I typically do check this on either like when I'm in a trade or if I am on higher time frames, right? Because like when I look for blood diamonds, if you go down to like the 5 minute, although these are useful on the lower time frames, you can see like blood diamond, big move down, blood diamond continuations down, etc. But you know, on the higher time frames, these are really like the more significant levels. Actually, on XRP, we saw this recently where we had was it a 2-day blood diamond? There it is. 2-day blood diamond pops up. When you have a high time frame blood diamond like that, oftentimes more downside is to come. Right? And we'll take a look at XRP today as well. But with that being said, guys, that's what we're looking at on Bitcoin. Hopefully, we're finally putting in that higher low on the 786. Definitely a possibility here. Hopefully, we can get that money flow to roll up for a massive move up. But we are going to be cautious on that bigger retracement to the upside. And we will assess price action as it develops, catching those trades or not having confirmations and sitting on our hands. But yeah, let's take a look. I do want to take a look at Ethereum as well. Let's go ahead and... Where we at? Where's my Ethereum chart? Bueller. Where is... Hang on a second. Where is my Ethereum chart? Did we lose it? Oh, man. What the heck? Bear with me here, guys. I want to make sure. That's Bitcoin. That's why. There we go. Okay, so here it is. So I actually covered this on the market update earlier, guys. If you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure you subscribe and you turn on notifications, guys, so you don't miss these market updates or the live streams. But this is pretty easy to remember, 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But yeah, I do just want to talk about this a little bit, right? Because if we take a look here, let me go ahead and hide these local levels. I will just go over this briefly because, again, I did cover it in the market update. So we had our macro volume profile here. Once we lost this, we broke it, we bearishly retested, and we looked down towards our bear market range, or actually this mini volume profile down below. We got accepted into here, went to the value area low, and you can see we are starting to reclaim this level, right? And it's not just this mini volume profile. How do I want to look at this? Let me actually pull this down here, readjust this. And I'll actually look at this through the mini volume profile, right? So we had this key level down here, 786 Fibonacci retracement just below the value area low. And we know, hey, if we lose this range and impulse out, where are we going to look for price to go? Well, very simply, we're going to look for price to gravitate towards our previous area of balance, which was coming from this range right over here. Come down. Got stuck in the range a little bit. We broke out for a bearish retest of the value area low, but eventually we did come back in, bearish retest the high, and then we come down for that full fill of that volume profile, right? This was actually a very beautiful call because we were looking at this as we were pumping here, and we literally looked at the key levels we had here, not only the value area high, I think we had some fib levels in here as well, saying if we can't break out of there, that's the level you have to get above, because if you can't get above that, you're probably going to get back down below the POC and see that range fill in full, right? And then we deviate below. This 786, guys, is extremely important. And the reason for this is because this is not just a random volume a random Fibonacci retracement. This is the Fibonacci retracement from the bear market low all the way up to the high here. Dang it. Where'd it go? There it is, right? Pulled from the absolute bear market low in 2022 all the way to the high here. This 786, we would love to hold that 786 on the weekly. If we could close this weekly candle above the 786, I wouldn't say it guarantees that the pain is over. And again, we have to see that weekly candle close. And this is a 4-day candle. I mean, 4-day candles wouldn't be bad either. But really what I want to see here is weekly candle closures above that 786. Because again, this is kind of your last chance for a bounce. If we lose that 786, guys, we could be headed all the way down towards about $1,000 for Ethereum. So, and we talked about this the other day. That 786, I would love to see that reclaimed. And if we take a look at Bitcoin, it's the same thing that we kind of saw in on Bitcoin during the 2019 or 2020 dump, right? Price got the bull market rally. We pulled from the low to the high. And then as we get the dump to come in here, you could see we slipped the low. It was very, very scary. But what happens? We close those candles pretty close to above that 786. We reclaimed the 786, and then it was off to the races, right? This reminds me very eerily of this, right? And again, this doesn't mean that it is guaranteed the low, right? But I would say if we could hold that 786, weekly green dot incoming, there's no way around this. I do not love this weekly money flow. So just like Bitcoin, it's the same thing on Ethereum, right? If we don't see this money flow come back up, right, we could look at this and say, well, hey, we held the 786, we got a weekly green dot. We also have a lot of similar signals on Ethereum as well, right? 2-day bull div, right? Potentially looking to print. Not quite yet, but it's almost there. Daily, green dot is also printing. You don't have the bull div here, unfortunately, but you do have the green dot. You do have your 90-minute money flow trying to come up. Your 80-minute money flow is trying to come up as well. So similar bullish signals as Bitcoin, but on Ethereum, we really want to hold that 786, right? This would be really nice because if we lose that 786, where do I think we're going? Well, lose that 786, I would say value area low and potentially beyond. We have a lot of key levels down here. But if we actually what we were looking at yesterday was this overall range, right? Like Ethereum is essentially in a massive sideways range, right? And this lines up with all those levels I just showed you, right? So if we pull this volume profile, you can see here at about $1,062, right? If we look at this from a macro perspective, shorts above the highs, longs below the lows, generally, right? Once you get accepted back into the range, reject that value area high, POC is your next stop. Lose that POC, you're going to be looking down towards that value area low, sitting at about 1,050 right now. Hopefully, The weekly green dot, the 2-day bull div, can hold that 786, and we can get back in here and work our way out. But until proven otherwise, we have to look at these key levels, guys. And I would first off be paying a lot of attention towards that POC, which right now is sitting at about 1816, and the 786 is sitting at about 1950, which are pretty similar to a lot of the levels that we've been looking at, right? You can see the POC of our local range here is very similar, right? So let me pull up the lower time frame so it's a little bit more clear. Let's get rid of this, and we'll just zoom into the lower time frames, right? So just to show that those levels are confluent with the macro levels, I'll even get rid of the golden pocket here really quickly. Take that off, bada boom, right? So locally, these are like more of the tangible levels. We are breaking back above our value area low. Deviate below the low. We did get some bullish divergences, 4-hour bullish divergence, lower lows, higher lows. So this is where you would be looking for longs, right? Now, to be honest, we're like right above the 786 now. I would like to see those divs into a key level of support, which we didn't really have any significant key levels of support down here, at least from what I look at. So you didn't really have a nice support down there, but at the end of the day, let me get rid of this blue box. At the end of the day, I'll even get rid of the 78. I'll keep the 786. Deviation below the low. At this point, if you hold above this value area low, which by the way, 1642, hold above this, look for the move up into that golden pocket sitting at about 1850. POC of the range. Golden pocket retracement. These are the next targets locally for Ethereum if we're going to continue that move up. Golden pocket sitting between 1827 and 1854, POC confluence. Get above that, flip it to support. We're looking up towards the value area high 786, sitting at about 1950. The same levels that we just talked about on those higher time frames, right? On the higher time frame volume profile. And if I just pull this one more time, right? Because it just gives you a different perspective. Let's pull that, bada boom. Right? I'll just zoom in a bit. That POC is right there. 1818. 1818 has been a key level on Ethereum for so long. Every time we come down to this level, it's like 1818. I make a joke about it because it's like 1818, right? And I don't even remember the last time we talked about this. It must have been all the way back here in 2023. 1818. We flip it to support, guys. That could be the level right up here. 1818. Flip it to support, guys. We could get that move to the value area high. We played around on the POC. Finally reclaim what level? 1818 for the move up to the value area high. So just to kind of show that confluence, this is a massive key level here, right? So I'll even draw this to the right here. 1815, or it's just not drawn perfectly. I can't get it to the pixel. But 1818 all the way up to the POC at about 1851. Flip that to support. We're looking up to the value area high 786. And again, similar bullish signals that we as what we have on. You can just see how well these levels are respected. But if we do continue up, right, and again, it is a lot of the same bullish signals that we have on Bitcoin, so assuming that everything is good, we will be looking up to come to those levels next, for me personally. So there you go. That's what I'll be looking at on Ethereum. I don't want to spend too much time on ETH because we covered it in the market update, but now let's take a look at Solana. Solana, absolutely crazy, guys. We knew that once we got out of this range and we couldn't hold this golden pocket that we were bouncing at right here, it's not on the chart anymore, but we were bouncing here at a golden pocket, and we knew that once we lost that golden pocket, I guess I should pull it, right? Because it'll make a lot more sense for everybody. And we do this every day for free, guys. We talk about this stuff every single weekday. So if you don't want to miss out on any of this good information, make sure you tune in and make sure to subscribe to the channel. It also helps us out greatly. It pushes us into the algorithm, guys. Where are we at? I think it was pulled from this low to the... Oh, no, this was the overall. Never mind that. Where was that? I think it was pulled from right here. Let me just see where that golden pocket is. I want to make sure we're looking at the right level. No, where did I get that fib from? Maybe it was a local gold. Actually, I think it was a local golden pocket, maybe. I don't want to spend too much time here. Well, I know we had a daily level in Confluence. So I'll just mark out the daily level because that's binary right there, right? So we had this daily level. This was also confluent with a, this was confluent with our 786. Let me mark this out as a daily, right? We had the daily, and it was this 786, right? So we had the daily, the 786. That was the level that we wanted to hold above. We also had the golden pocket I talk about, but I'm not going to find that level right now. But when we look at this, right, we knew if we lose this golden pocket, this 786 daily level, That's what we needed to get above to get accepted back into this range. If we lost this level, we were unable to reclaim it. Where are we looking down to, guys? And I don't say this to say I was right. I don't say this to be like, look, we knew this was going to happen, right? Because we could have been wrong too. We just knew the probabilities of being unable to reclaim this level. We knew that very likely the next key level of support would be between 108 and 101, right? Between the POC and the value area high of the range. And what are we seeing now? Obviously, we couldn't reclaim that level. We lose the level. We come down to our zone here, and we get the bounce. And where were we looking for that bounce if we got it to come up to? Well, we had the golden pocket, 786. The same exact levels. I've not moved these levels. This is what we looked at. Pulled from the high. Right, let's make sure this high, all the way to the low. Golden pocket, 786. The 786 is confluent with the value area high. We come down to the level that we waited for forever as we were bing-bonging around here. Right? We knew we lose this range, we're probably going down here. We come down there, we get the bounce, and we were looking for this to come into the local area of resistance between the golden pocket and the 786 value area low, and we also had that anchored VWAP coming through as well, and that is where we're sitting right now. So Solana definitely hitting some resistance right now. However, I would say if I actually pull this up to the swing high here, right, I would make sure you know those levels are there, but I would say, yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, if you can, maybe you get a little turbulence here, but if you can get above that golden pocket, push into the 786, flip that 786 to support, you're also flipping the value area low, and this is the road to higher prices for Solana. You must flip 127.56, right? Once you get above that, that's where you can look for the continuation up, and obviously, just like on a lot of the altcoins that we looked at, we have the 2-day bullish divergence, obviously, right? This is one of the big things. Lower lows on our price action into a key level of support with the higher lows on our momentum waves giving us that 2-day bull div. Green dot looking to print. This looks good, guys. As of right now, I would say medium term, the charts look okay for a continuation to the upside. That does not mean up in a straight line. Hopefully it does. But it does not necessarily mean up in a straight line, right? Like you could have a little turbulence. But overall, if we can get that green dot to print on the 2-day, same thing as Bitcoin, same thing as a lot of other stuff. We did not have the 16-hour green dot, but we do also have the bull divs on the daily here. Mark that out here, right? Lower lows, higher lows. When you see these high time frame bull divs, guys, it is good, in my opinion, usually good for at least some kind of a bigger continuation up. Doesn't necessarily mean all-time highs. I want to be very clear. But what we need to do is take it step by step. Get the push up here, right? If we can flip that value area low to support, POC at 142, flip that POC, value area high at 169. This could potentially be the start of things looking much better because if we are able to start getting up here, and once we do, we could start analyzing stuff. Well, hey, what happens when we get up to that POC? If we're sitting at that POC, guys, and money flow is coming up, and obviously the moment, there'll be a lot of ups and downs on the way up there, right? But at that point, as we're continuing up here, what's this money flow looking like on the daily? If it's starting to cross over into the green, we're going to be looking for continuations to the upside because if that daily money flow crosses into the green, we are looking for higher lows and higher highs, right? I don't know exactly where it's going to start coming in, but once that daily money flow crosses over, we anticipate the higher lows and the higher highs. But until then, we can anticipate the bullish divergence on the daily to at least give us the start of that move. And then once you start seeing that money flow crossover on the green, into the green on the daily, you can start coming up to some of these higher time frames. Weekly green dot looks to print. If that weekly green dot prints with our 10-hour, come on, there we go. If that 10-hour money flow crosses over into the green, I believe it's the weekly and the 10-hour. Yeah, because I think that's what happened right here. There's a 10-hour money flow crossover with a weekly green dot, but then I think the green dot didn't print. Let me just double check that. Yeah, you could see this, right? We had the VWAP coming up, looking for the green dot, and then we're like, oh my God, 10-hour money flow is about to cross over into the green. Maybe that gives us the move up, and we got faked out, right? Rejected by the anchored VWAP, and we continue down to that next key level. Where do we get the big bounce? Right from that key level. Pretty crazy. But that is kind of how I would handle things, right? Definitely hitting resistance here between 120.60 and 127.49. But once we get above that, we can look for the continuation up through there. And if we get the continuation up, all eyes on the daily money flow, right? And then hopefully that leaks into the higher time frames and we get the higher time frame money flow to come back up. And if we are starting to see the higher time frame money flow start to creep up, that's where you are looking for a bigger continuation to the upside. Remember, like you could go back and back test this, right? When you're looking for a big move up, you need money flow crossing over into the green, right? Like, we could be in a situation like this, right? Where, I don't know, maybe not this big, right? But like, oh my God, we're bouncing. I'm never going to be able to get in. Oh my God. Right? Well, what happens? You get a big correction. And what happens as you're correcting? You have money flow coming into the green on the 2-day. That's a big indication that you're going to see a longer-term trend continue to the upside. Do you want to FOMO in here and then ride all this drawdown to eventually come up? I mean, you can, right? But I personally don't like to do that, right? I don't buy the big green candles. I wait for the retracements and then wait for better confirmation, right? So there's the 2-day green, money flow crossover, and what happens? Massive continuation to the upside, right? It's not going to be 100% of the time either, right? But more often than not, right? Money flow crosses over into the red in a big way, big continuation down. This is the same stuff we look at all the time, right? So yeah, over time, we see that 2-day money flow crossover, right? Maybe we even get like bigger pushes up, right? And I was like, oh my God, right? We're above the value. Oh my God, now Solana's down like crazy. Oh my God, right? Is this the bear market? Well, keep your context in mind here, right? What are you going to be looking for here? Well, hey, if we come up here and we start retracing to the downside, but money flow is about to cross over into the green, I'm looking for macro higher lows and higher highs. And if I pull this imaginary fib from this low to where, if we do come up here, if we have this macro golden pocket 786 retracement, I would say, well, hey, if we push into here with bullish confirmations, money flow crosses into the green, that might be where we really lift off. Because at that point, when you see that money flow crossing into the green, you can anticipate a much larger long-term uptrend to continue, right? So you look at this. That gave us a 1,500% pump on the last significant, I'll even pull it to here, right? Because you technically cross into the red. 1,000% pump on the last major 2-day money flow crossover. I don't think you guys can see that. 2-day money flow crossover, massive pump to the upside. Even here. 2-day money flow crossover. And a 120% pump to the upside, right? So when we see stuff, even if we see bullish divergences or something, if money flow is coming out, you could look for a pump, but it's got to be lackluster, right? For a retracement and a continuation down, because money flow is king. Money flow indicates the longer-term trend every single time. And I will say it every single live stream because it is true, right? It'll fake you out. It won't be 100%. Nothing is 100% with TA or trading. But, and then, you can see why the weekly money flow makes me a little bit more nervous, right? Because, sure, we can get a big retracement, but until this money flow starts coming way back up, we have to be careful of the even longer term trend continuing to the downside. This could give us a pretty massive pump before coming back down, right? Hopefully that's not the case. This will be the case of the bear market being here. That's not my base case. My base case is the bull market is not over. But if we come up here and that money flow is coming out, right, maybe we can look for the bigger move down. So there you go. So next key levels on Solana, obviously here. I already said these levels. I won't repeat them. And then, if you get up here, be very careful of the 786. But once you flip that, I think you're probably decent to get a move back up to the POC. So that's what I'm going to be watching here on Solana. Short term, wouldn't be surprised if you get a little bit of a cool off. You got your 3-hour VWAP rolling over, 4-hour VWAP rolling over. But look at the money flow. I'd say medium term, it looks good for a move up. Just really the macro time frames that we just have to let play out and reassess as price action develops. All right, let's see. Shout out to Jay Bella says, best of the best, Frankie. Can you check Solana, please? Wow, that must be an old... Oh, I'm not current here in chat. That's why. There we go. Well, there's Solana for you. Shout out to Giga Longbottom. What is going on, brother? Said, Frankie, is daily close over the POC a good setup? Or middle of the range too risky? Shout out to Giga Longbottom. I don't look at like a daily close above a POC being a confirmation to enter a trade. Could it be a, I don't know if you're talking about Solana. I assume you're probably talking about Bitcoin because Bitcoin's actually testing the POC. So I assume you're talking about Bitcoin. That's not a signal that I use to enter a trade, right? Oh, there you go. Back below the POC. Okay. Interesting. 5-minute money flow crossing over into the red. Red dot looking to print. Maybe we can get a little bit of a pullback here. Maybe we could see it pull back. Because now we have 5-minute bullish divergences, 15-minute bearish divergences, 15-minute bearish divergences into the key level of resistance. 30 minutes still not there, right? And money flow still fighting against you. So again, I would classify it as a little bit more risky. But again, if you're managing your risk, and again, I'm not telling you to enter this trade. I can only show you my ideas, right? And then you obviously have to do your own research and make your own trading decisions, right? I can't just because I say, hey, even if I were to say, hey guys, probably going to dump here, doesn't guarantee it's going to happen. So just be careful with that. I do not provide signals. But yeah, I would say money flow is fighting against you a little bit. But yeah, if you could cool off, I would just be careful around these lows. But yeah, I don't say, like, if you're looking at that as a long setup, shout out to Giga Long Bottom. If you close the daily above here, could that send you to the upside? Sure. But I don't enter trades based off of that, right? Because at that point, it's like, what are you doing? Sure, you could be longing a continuation up, right? But like for me personally, I don't like this is already like, look at this 4-hour candle, right? Or not even. Like, look at this 8-hour candle, right? Like I can't help but look at it from this perspective. Like I don't long here, right? I don't long at the top of the massive green candle like this. Could you print another 8-hour green candle and yeet up to the value area high? Sure. Is that a sound, valid trade setup? In my opinion, not really. So I don't really look at that. Would it be bullish if you close the daily candle above there? I would look at it more of a sign of direction rather than a trade signal, if that makes sense, right? For a long, I would much rather wait for a little bit more of a retracement into key levels of support, and I would rather long on at least the lower time frames having a little bit of a pullback. So like even here, like you're pretty much long in the top of that pump. And again, like I would be much more, for me personally, right? Like just like we covered yesterday, I'm sitting on my hands down here, guys, unless we sweep the lows or push down to 70K, that I'm not looking for longs. Until we push up to the POC, key level of resistance, right? That's where I'm looking for shorts. So I would be looking for shorts up here, and I am looking for shorts up here. So yeah, just if anything, I'm shorting. I'm looking for shorts, right? Not looking for longs. But again, doesn't mean you can't continue up, right? But to me, I would rather, again, miss that move up with no confirmation and then just look for a higher probability short position. But I would say there are some mixed signals here. So yeah, could you cool off? I would say so. It is a key level of resistance. You do have some confirmation, but there is some stuff pointing against it. Usually after these big moves off news like that, you kind of have to let price settle a little bit, right? And if you do take trades, just make sure you're managing your risk, right? Like for me personally, if I take a short right here, right now my stop right above the high, I could lose this trade 100 times. Right, before one of my trades pays me out plus profit, right? It's really all about risk management. You could take this even if you think it's lower probability. Just manage your risk, right? Make sure you're not losing a ton of your account if you get stopped out. So there we go. Let's see. Can we, shout out to Jack said, can we do ICP? We can try to do ICP. Oh, he said he did like, Jesse said, did you like the stream, Jack? And Jack said yes. So let's take a quick look at ICP. Let me just make sure I didn't miss anything in chat here. Bada boom. Oh, hang on one second, guys. Hang on one second. I missed some super chats. Yo, Anon Snow. Yo, shout out to Anon Snow. Said, hi, Frankie. It's Luca, Anon's son. Yo, shout out to Luca, my boy. What is going on, bro? Good to see you in the CandleMafia chat. I love it. Shout out to Luca, guys. Luca's a great kid. I got the pleasure to meet him, and we even bowled. He's a pretty good bowler. But shout out to Luca. Good to see you in here, bro. I like you trying to learn about charts. I absolutely love it. Shout out to Anon. When I have a son one day, hopefully a son or a daughter, I'm going to do the same thing. Shout out to Crypto Anon. Shout out to Luca, bro. Good to see you in here. I hope you're doing well, buddy. But yeah, and shout out to Creighton C as well. Says last time 2-day had this setup was September 2023, including money flow, but the 5-day and weekly money flow is a major question. Yeah, I would agree. Creighton, absolutely. It's that weekly money flow, to be quite honest, the weekly money flow on it is not really looking too hot. Not looking too hot. We'll take a look at ICP in a second. But yeah, like, I mean, you're hoping for a fake out here, right? And could it happen? Absolutely, right? Like, and I don't think it's the bear market just yet, right? But again, if we get that little rally, put in lower highs, and that red dot is printing on the weekly and the money flow is continuing out, it's a little suspicious, guys. It's a little suspicious. But that's not my base case, as I said. It's definitely a possibility, a scenario I'm willing to play. But my base case is that, we're either putting in the lower high here for a break of structure to the upside to continue the bullish trend. We've come down to the golden pocket 786. We've retested the previous all-time high almost. And that's scenario number one. This is the lower high. We needed that news to push markets up. Maybe it's good. If not, we still have my base case would still be bear market, not here, right? Not bull market over. Even if we came down here, we still have some last line of defense here to put in the higher low and continue up. Again, as I've said, I prefer not to have to deal with these lower levels because it gets really sketchy here. But if we bounce here, that was my favorite scenario to play out. Like, hopefully we hold the 786, guys, because it's going to be a difficult situation. Shout out to anyone who watches the live streams. You'll know I sound like a broken record saying it, but, that's what we look for. I would love to not have to come down and test the lower 70s. But yeah, so shout out to Crane C. I 100% agree, bro. Shout out to Crypto Sharknado. Said, dude, 75 75.25 no play. Shout out to Crypto Sharknado. I'm not sure. Like, do you mean can we not come down there? Shout out to Crypto Sharknado. I'm not 100% sure exactly the question, but yeah, we had the weekly. He tapped the weekly naked point of control twice. Maybe, I guess you can consider these bullish divergences if you don't count the wicks. But yeah, a retest of this level at that point, right? If we do come back down there, I don't know. Could you triple bottom? Maybe. But, I'll reassess that situation if we get down there. But as of right now, until we wind up losing the key levels that we're at right now, I wouldn't be looking down there just yet, if that's what you mean. But shout out to Crypto Sharknado. Let me know. You don't have to send another super chat, but let me know what you think in the chat, and we'll see. I'll see if I can try to answer it a little bit better for you. Shout out to Zenon. Yo, shout out to Zenon. Good to see you again, bro. He says, thank you, Frankie, for the help yesterday with Compound. I went ahead and held the position, and I was able to get out with only a 30% loss. Yo, shout out to Denon, bro. And I love it, right? You made your own decision, and there you go. Beautiful. I'm glad. I'm sorry about the 30% loss in your case, but obviously much better than getting liquidated, right? So yeah, just don't let that get in your head that holding a bad position is the good idea because you got out a little. Just because it worked in your favor this time, just don't let that habit build. Understand the pain you felt when you were about to get liquidated. Don't take the fact that you held and got out at 30% rather than getting liquidated. Don't use that as a massive win, right? It is a win. Walk away with it, right? But understand the mistake that you made, which was not setting a stop loss, and then just make sure you remember the pain that you felt, and hopefully on your next trade, it'll help you get out of the trade at a small loss before even having to go near liquidation, right? So hopefully that was your first lesson. A lot of people have to learn this many times. I had to learn that lesson 100 times personally. Hopefully you're not. I'm thick-headed. Hopefully you're not thick-headed like I am. But take that and just remember to try to avoid those situations from now on. But shout out to Zen. I'm really happy to hear that you were able to get a little bit back there. Let's see. Okay, so let's take a quick look at ICP. Shout out to Dark Sen and said, "Oh, this is my 50th lesson." I assumed. It's trust me. Hopefully you don't have to make it all the way to 100 like I did. But yeah, learn from my mistakes so they're not a complete loss. But yeah, shout out to Dark Sen, bro. Super happy to hear that you were able to get some of that back. Yo, shout out to Zen said, yo, a long shot, but do you listen to your fans' music? I started. Shout out to Zen. I would listen to your music if you had it. Yeah, give me your name. I'll try to look it up. I like all kinds of music. What kind of music do you make, bro? All right, so let's continue on. Let's take a look at, shout out to Bubba's Crypto said, several thousands of education for me. Shout out to Bubba's. Yeah, I wish I tracked it better. People always ask me, how much money did you have to pay in your market tuition to learn? Luckily, I didn't have a lot of money to risk. So, when I blew up an account, it's not like I was blowing up $10,000 accounts or anything like that. So, kind of not having a ton of money to work with was a little bit of a blessing in disguise for me. But I wish I kept track. Definitely thousands. I don't know. It'd be a random guess. But yeah, a lot, too much. Especially at the time, a little bit of money was a lot of bit of money to me. Let's see. All right, so let's take a look at ICP really quickly. Okay. Let's come on over here. Actually, no, let's take a look at this ICP chart. Okay, so we actually haven't taken a look at ICP in a minute. But let's take a look here. So, listen, from this higher time frame perspective, higher time frame, we're in our lower range, right? Now, how bad is this? Let's pull our full fib, right? So we lost that 786. That's a long gone. So yeah, right now, I would say your lower volume profile, key resistance, the level you really need to break out of, is going to be about $6.20. That's your value area high. You can see very clearly, we simply broke down into the range, bearishly retested, and then got the continuation down. Are we going to make it to the POC? Are we going to make it to the value area low? Simple answer, I don't know. But what I can do is tell you what the charts are saying. Level-wise, if you can't break out of this value area high, the doorway to the POC and the value area low remain open, right? It's not until we come up here, break some significant structure, and start cracking out of here that you could say these are now off the table. As long as you remain within this range, these levels are on the table. It doesn't guarantee we come down to them, but oftentimes go from the low, flip it to support, POC value area high. Same way that works. Laws of the volume profile, get into the range, flip the value area low, value area high to resistance. POC is usually next, right? So hopefully we don't have to see that, but just to let you know, we're kind of just hovering above that POC. Now, do we have the 2-day bull div? Yes, we do, right? Or daily bull div, I'm sorry. Higher lows, lower lows. That could give us a significant retracement. Once you get to the value area high, be very careful. If you could flip it, that's a good sign. If not, be very careful because you might just come up, get rejected, come back into the range, shoot towards that POC. Excuse me. Take a look at Ethereum. Kind of a similar situation as what happened to Ethereum here, right? When we looked at our, let's come down to a lower time frame, right? We came down, right? We lost the POC. We put in some bull divs. We got the bounce, but what happened? We rejected the value area high, came back below the POC, lost the POC, went to the value area low, right? So that is, kind of a similar, kind of reminds me of ICP here, right? Because like maybe you could rally, but if you get stuck in here, you could go back down towards that POC. I do wonder if I can get that POC to move up slightly. Nah. Yeah, it's just not how I would pull the range either. Yeah, no, that POC is definitely there. That POC is definitely still there. We definitely did not touch it. So just be aware of that. You're within this range. This is your range. Value area low at 347. POC at $4.04. And then your value area high at 618. That's your range. Till you break out, we'll see what happens. That's your key level of resistance. Now, if I start pulling some fibs, let me see. Let me pull it. Just pull it from here to the low. So you do have some confluence here as well. So you have a golden pocket, 786 here. So yeah, if you're able to continue up, I would look at this as your key level of resistance, 605 to about 661. Once you flip that 786, that would be the doorway to potentially get the bigger move up, which would probably bring you into, come on. What do we want to look at here? Let's pull this range. Let's see. Yeah, I would probably look at this range right here. If you get a continuation above that volume profile, these are worth mentioning. Value area low, POC value area high. So yeah, if you do get above that 786, key resistance above that would be about 755, and then that's your upper range, these levels right here if you want to get them on your chart. And that's pulled from this local range right here, right? And again, it's just the theory of volume profiles. Break above here, price, you're impulsing out of this lower range, price is going to gravitate towards the previous area of fair value. Where was that? Simply put, right here. You obviously have this little local range here, but I can't give every single level, obviously. But, you would want to watch that as well. But, like, overall, higher time frame, flip that 786, could move up to about 750, and then look within this range up here to potentially get accepted and push up. But until then, I'd be, this is the range you're in. That's the range I would play. So, yeah, continue up. And, again, from a market cipher perspective, very, very similar signals as we're seeing on a lot of other stuff, right? Lower lows on our price action. Higher lows on the momentum waves, green dots printing, bullish divergences, not impossible to continue up here. And if we wake up tomorrow and everything comes back to the downside because, some other crazy news, it is what it is, and we'll have to reassess the situation, right? But right now, I will say, right, short term, like lower time frames, maybe some turbulence, right? But overall here with these daily and 2-day bull divs, does look like we could get a bigger retracement, especially just with the pause on the tariffs as well. It's like somewhat bullish as well. Shout out to Kill Gannon. I don't know how, or Kill Gannon? I think that's how you say it. Shout out to you, bro. Good to see you in here. Shout out, thank you for the super chat. Said, hey guys, remember the last time we got a crazy bullish tweet from a Trump tweet? I'm trying to think. For some reason, every time I think of like a news event, I always think of the time on XRP where we got some fake XRP lawsuit news and we wicked up to my liquidity sweep level and I caught the short. And I didn't know it was fake news. I didn't know why it was pumping. It was just pumping. We got the SFP. I took the short, and then turns out it was fake news. Pretty crazy. But shout out to Kilgannon. Thank you for the super chat, bro. I appreciate you. Let's see. Eddie says BTC dump prediction, like my bearish case. My bearish case would be, locally, or not locally, but like my bearish case, like higher time frame I went over already earlier. It would be like, who knows how high this retracement can go, but like bearish cases, we get a bigger retracement, right? If these bull dips give us a bigger move up, bearish cases, we put in a macro lower high and then break down into the bear market. That would be like my more bearish case, right? Bearish case locally, I mean, it's kind of hard, right? Like right now, I mean, I would say like money flow coming up on a lot of these time frames. I would say like we just get some kind of crazy news or something and it just dumps us back down, in which case we have our key levels of support and we'll just adjust accordingly. I don't know if that's exactly what you were asking, but yeah. Let's see. Quick look at XRP. Yeah, we will take a look at XRP because obviously, there we are, right? So we obviously knew that we had this low volume gap sitting here. Where are we at? Yeah, we had the low volume gap sitting below, right? If we pull up the visible range volume profile, right, we have this big old gap down here. So we knew once we wound up losing these lows, we would get that quick drop to the downside, potentially ending at the golden pocket here at 150. This is still key support to the downside. If we get some kind of big rip to the downside, right, and we just wind up breaking lows for some reason, golden pocket still sits at about $1.50, right? Value area high sitting at about $1.33. So these are still key levels to the downside. I don't know, if we're guaranteed to come down there, but right now we deviate below the volume profile, right? And we did get the bounce, right? Where's our key levels of resistance? Simply put, pull from the high to the low, golden pocket, approaching the 786 right now. What if we pull it to here? That's probably what that's what we're interacting with right now. But in general, right, I would probably mark this out as like 786 value area low confluence, right? So we're already above the golden pocket. I'll take that off the chart. So yeah, like maybe you get a little bit of turbulence in here, right? Who knows? Maybe we just continue to range around down here. That would be kind of nice. But key level to get above for XRP remains the same. If you mark down these volume profiles that we have on the chart on our live streams, you would have had these levels, right? You would have these levels like all the way from back here, right? And you would just know where you're going to be looking for longs or where you might be looking for shorts, right? Above the highs and below the lows. So right now, right, if we're able to get back above this value area low, flip that level to support, POC value area high would be the full fill of the volume profile. But right now, hitting the local 786 could get a little bit of a cool off. I wouldn't be surprised to see some low time frame turbulence, right? 2 hour looking for the red dot. But eventually, if you put the higher low in and continue up, 215 is the key level to get above for the bigger move up. So there you go. Let's see. Asia could dump us hard. These markets are doing bad. Yeah, shout out to CJ. We could see the dump on the Asia markets could dump us absolutely. But we'll see what happens. Well, I mean, we are at key resistance, right? Like, let's not forget that, right? Context is king, right? 2-day, daily, bullish divergences could continue us up. Does not mean in a straight line, right? Obviously. We came to our weekly naked point of control, which is part of that key level of resistance. Where's it at? Bada boom. It's that first zone we talked about yesterday, waiting to come up here to look for the potential short positions. I can't talk too much about the setups because I don't want to share any of the stuff that people pay for in the premium. It wouldn't be fair to them. But yeah, I'll just say this. Like, we are looking for shorts up here, right? So yeah, key resistance. So we'll see what happens. So before we hop out here, guys, shout out to Nick. Welcome in. That's NIC. Shout out to you, bro. Welcome in. Thank you for being here. Real quick before we go, guys, I do want to talk about in case we do wind up getting a little bit of a more significant move to the upside, right? If we just wind up like continuing to rip to the upside and we do put in all-time highs, I'll just give you a little bit of a fun kind of prediction, right? This is not me saying, oh my God, all-time highs incoming. I want to be very clear, right? I covered all my plans in detail, all of the levels that I'm looking at, and the exact scenarios that I'm watching for. My base case is bull market is not over. However, right, even if we come up and see a little bit more pain, I would still have that potential sentiment, right? It's very hard to predict exactly how this stuff will play out. But if we do wind up seeing much bigger levels, right, where can we look to the upside? So if this is, right, this is assuming this is the low, right, our golden pocket 786 Fibonacci retracement, just to be clear, when you're in an uptrend, which we very much are, right, never change my tune about that, right, we're in an uptrend. And the reason I don't change my tune about that, guys, is because it's just a fact, right? Like, if you want me to flip bearish, right, for the bear market to be in, right, like everybody thinks or thought down here, I'm sure today everybody changed their mind, I stay the same, right? I don't care that we're bouncing. That has nothing to do with why I don't think the bear market is here. We thought that here. We thought that here. We thought that here. We anticipated this drop. And the reason I say this is because that is TA, right? It gives us a clear plan and an actual thing in validation on the chart to make us think something different. Unless the chart tells me that, my plan remains the same. So even if we did come down to the bigger golden pocket retracement and we come down and we test that golden pocket, as long as we're able to hold that level, even with some wicks to the downside, even if we get like scary wicks like that, if we can hold that on the higher time frames like the weekly and the daily, that could still be bull market still on. It's not until we decisively break that high and get stuck inside that range that I am saying that is signs of a bear market, right? Simple. So let's assume that we're not going to come back down. Let's just assume this is the bottom. What would I expect? Well, obviously, we have all the key levels we went over, but how high could we potentially go? Well, let's see. If we pull from our high to our low here on the Fibonacci retracements, right? I actually think it's going to be that wick. And we pull up our extension levels, right? Let me pull this up. Next targets I would be looking at, right? Now, we also have some local levels up here that could cause some turbulence, but now these new extension levels, if we do continue up, let's assume that's the bottom. We come back up into our upper range here. I'll even pull it up. Right? Let's assume we pump. We get above that value area low. We hit the POC. Money flow's not coming out on the higher time frames anymore. Money flow's coming back into the green. It looks good for a big move up, and we break out. Big targets between $118,000 and $124,000. If you get above that, I'm looking at about $131,000. That is. So that's what I'm looking at. Right? Those are gonna be the next big targets to the upside. And then once we get up to about 131, right, as you guys know, like my more macro targets, if we do continue up to higher prices, 137K, I do plan to sell a lot of my Bitcoin. 150K if we make it up there, looking to sell a lot of my Bitcoin. Again, just because we're pumping today does not guarantee the all-time highs are coming. My base case is, whether we bounce here or chop around a little bit more, put in the higher low, and then come up here. This is my base case, right? I do still think we could see all-time highs, assuming the macroeconomic situation gets better or doesn't continue to get much worse. That is what I would expect, right? If we come up here, right, you have the bull divs, right? So we're at least expecting some kind of upside, right? If we come up here, get bearish confirmations, if we're going to put in a lower high, that might be the place to do it. Weekly money flow crossing into the red, that's where I would probably say, guys, definitely potential of a bear market here. Same thing as back here. Same old thing, right? Do you call the bear market after this dump? No. How much was this dump? This was 22%. Like, where's a 30%? Yeah, like 30%, right? Like, do you call the bear market here? Do you call the bear market here? You could, right? But if you're just saying, oh my God, we're down 30%, it's the bear market, it means that you would have had to call that a bear market. You would have had to call this a bear market, right? And then you're not ready for the bounce. So what I like to do is I like to wait for those retracements and then look at money flow, right? Because like here, when we were looking at price coming back into some Fibonacci retracement levels, right? We had the fib right here. As we retraced up, what was happening on the weekly? Oh my God, we're pumping. We got the green dot, right? It's very similar, right? Very similar. Money flows coming out, but we get the green dot. And we're like, oh my God, green dot on the weekly. We could get a significant retracement. We wound up pumping about 34%. That's a nice pump to the upside. But if we're looking for lower highs and lower lows to come, which we would be, or we were, because money flow was coming to the downside on the weekly time frame, typically a signal for a bear market. When we see that happen and we push up there and we have that lower high level, what is happening as we're pushing in here? Well, money flow is about to cross into the red, right? We also had the weekly, shout out to Market Cypher A, the weekly blood diamond, which was very, very bearish, making it very likely that if we dumped here, this was the first weekly blood diamond that we had ever had on the chart. So if that blood diamond is going to play out, money flow is already crossing into the red. We got the push into the retracement level. This is the level that has a high probability of a lower high. Now we can say if this thing breaks down, we might be headed into the bear market, right? But it's so you can't really call it on this dump, right? Or a little 20 or 30% dump. There's not enough there to say that like it's the bear market. Now we did have signs of weakness up here as far as bearish divergences, etc. But I'm not going to go through everything. But that's kind of like a similar situation as right here, right? Maybe we get the weekly green dot. Money flow is coming out. Maybe that weekly green dot gives us a little bit more of a pump, right? What would that pump be from the low to the POC? 30%. That sounds awfully familiar, doesn't it? Right? Into the golden pocket 786. If at that time we're seeing weekly blood diamonds, weekly money flow coming out, and bearish confirmations into that fib level, I'd treat it the same way we treat it here. Right? And then that would be a more clear sign of a bear market to come. That would be the bearish case, in my opinion. So we'll see. Maybe we don't even push all the way up there. Maybe we push up to a more local Fibonacci retracement. But we'll cross that at another time. Shout out to All-Star Auto Group. Thank you for the super chat, bro. I appreciate you so much. He says, Frankie, where do you see BTC in 15 to 20 years? Hopefully, well above $1 million. And I know that sounds crazy. I mean, it might not sound crazy to everybody in crypto. You know, I know you guys are in crypto. But, yeah, I do think above $1 million. In the next 10 years, I would say Bitcoin can make it to $1 million, assuming nothing crazy breaks, right? Like quantum computers don't, break everything. But yeah, I mean, I do think that is definitely a possibility. And there's a lot of really, really smart institutions that are picking up Bitcoin like crazy. So yeah, we'll that's kind of, I would see definitely above $1 million in 15 to 20 years. Not definitely, right? Like I think you guys know that, but that's where, I would be shocked if that weren't the case. But obviously anything is possible. So, we'll see what happens. Hopefully, listen, limited supply, right? Like it's just it's how things appreciate in value, right? It just makes sense. So there you go. That's kind of where I would see it. I don't know how many millions. I don't know. I would think probably upwards of $1 million plus. In my own personal opinion. Let's see. Shout out to Gen Z. Said, Frankie, can you share your charts on in the premium, or is it all up to date? Yeah. Shout out to Gen Z. If you scroll up to in my channel, if you scroll up to my last chart, that is the current chart. So shout out to you, bro. You can go grab that right now. So yeah, let's see. But yeah, I mean, maybe above $1 million would be really nice, or not really nice. I think that's probably somewhat likely, in my opinion. But hey, I'm just a crazy guy on YouTube screaming about charts, guys. Hey, maybe we get it right more than we get it wrong. But I'm just, I'm just a guy here. I'm just a guy that makes money trading with the Candle Mafia. But with all that being said, guys, that's all the time I got for tonight's live stream. I appreciate all of you guys for hanging out here till the end of the stream. I will see you guys tomorrow, same place, same time, 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll see if Bitcoin can continue this pump. Look out for that short-term pullback off those local signals that we talked about, and those 4-hour red dot, etc. We'll see if we can get that little pullback, but hopefully these bull divs print on the higher time frames and they can give us the bigger retracement. If not, we will likely be sitting in shorts on the way back down. But with all that being said, guys, I'll see you tomorrow. Happy Bitcoin pump. I didn't want to talk too much about the bearish stuff because it is exciting to see this pump. So we'll just enjoy it. Go have a good night. Enjoy your spot bags being up a little bit, and then we'll reassess the situation tomorrow. But I'll see you guys tomorrow, same place, same time, right here, 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Smash that like button on your way out. Shout out to Alex. Shout out to Cryptic Crabman. Shout out to My Passive Freedom. Shout out to Maybe a Band-Aid. Oh, wait, hang on. Maybe a Band-Aid sent a super chat, said hashtag not my inhaler. I don't even have an inhaler on the desk. But shout out to Maybe a Band-Aid. Hashtag you're right, not my inhaler. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Hasta pasta. That's all I got. Frankie Candles out. I don't even know my outro. Bing bong!
Look what's next for me, Joe. I'm gonna get that second bell. Where the f is it? They should have had them 2 bells ready. Spin it for me.
Yeah. Head up in the clouds, dog, they saying I look stressed. I've been feeling down, pray to God that I'm up next. Remember when she blew me off, that's why I can't text. Now she call me petty, but I swear I can't forget. This ain't a test. Now they saying that I ball like Jerry West. Coming back for what is mine, can't take no less. I said go and take a shot, so I need your best. And stop the threats, don't know what is in me. I don't got time, I'm not giving the energy. Too many people around me, I'm finicky. I do not mess with you, dog, you're not kidding me. You don't got way too close. I've been up at the top now, so they all wait for the landslide. I seen too many people that switched up, whose man's high. Through it all, I stay the same, I swear to God, I can't lie. Been down so damn low that I came up for my life. They talk way too much on the internet, it's not real life. I swear my fam waiting, I can't lose, and I'm still right. Still right, I swear that I'm working, I'm up till like midnight. It's real life, I got a time and I'm coming to get mine. In time, I cannot lose and I'm coming right inside.